Hey everybody, I'm Tim Ward and welcome back to Garden Sense. Well, folks, the weather has been all over the place. It's been warm, it's been cold, it's been wet, it's been dry, and we have been getting a number of emails from you based on all of those different factors. So it's been a pretty interesting couple of weeks, and this past week has been no different. A ton of emails have come through, and unfortunately there are a lot of you still asking about plant trust, when it's coming in, so we're going to address that a little bit later on today as well. But in the meantime, we do have 3 questions that we want to address here on today's video podcast. So buckle up everybody, and let's jump right in. The first question for today is from Steve. Tim, I have Zoysia that has encroached on my Liriope. How best can I remove/kill the grass? All right, so looking at this picture, the best thing to do is just going to do your best and pull it out by hand. Now, I know that's not fun and that's not what you were hoping for, but here's the thing. We need to find a product that we can put down that will kill or mitigate the grass while not injuring the plant. There is a product that exists that will do that. It's called Grass Getter. You can find it over at rosensonline.com. It's safe for Liriope. The problem is it doesn't specifically list Zoysia grass as a grass that it will prevent. That being said, because there's not a whole lot there, this is a product that I would recommend that you purchase and you just give it a try, because again, unless you want to really start pulling the Zoysia out by hand, you've got to find some way to prevent it from, kind of jumping into the garden. And I really think that Grass Getter might be a potential option for that. The other thing you could always consider is really just making sure you are controlling the spread of your Zoysia. You might even have to, basically use some type of a non-selective herbicide just around the edge of the garden to make sure that that Zoysia doesn't encroach up into your garden. So unfortunately, I do think that Grass Getter is a product that could work, but your ability to hand pull it is still probably the best and most guaranteed option in terms of a way to control it. The next question is from Darrow. Tim, since plant trust is not available, what do you suggest to fertilize my newly planted trees? Okay, so I've actually been getting this question a lot. Folks, you need to remember that there are 3 primary components to fertilizer, right? There's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those are the 3 numbers that you see on the bag. The first number is nitrogen, the second number is phosphorus, and the third number is your potassium. So as an example, plant trust is a 21-5-12. That means it's 21% nitrogen, 5% phosphorus, and 12% potassium. So any nitrogen source or any fertilizer that has the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and potassium, those trees are going to benefit from. Now, the biggest difference between plant trust and some of the other fertilizers out there is going to be the fact that plant trust uses a lot of what's called slow release nitrogen, which is why it's so safe. It's not going to injure or burn your trees, your shrubs, and in essence, it's not going to over fertilize them. Garden trust is a great example of a substitute for plant trust. Even though the plant trust is 21-5-12 and garden trust is 15-15-14, it contains nitrogen, it contains phosphorus, and it contains potassium. So it's actually a really, really great substitute. You also didn't tell me what trees specifically that you are planting. If those trees have a lot of foliage, then obviously plant trust would be a better option. But if those trees are known for the blooms that they produce, then garden trust is actually the better option. Now, I actually got an email last week from someone asking if they can just use turf trust as a fertilizer for their trees. Turf trust is 24-2-12, and the answer is yes. It will 100% work. Your trees will benefit from any type of fertilizer. In terms of your specific question though, if it were me and I couldn't get my hands on plant trust, I would absolutely use garden trust. It's the next best thing. It's a very high quality fertilizer and your trees are really going to benefit from it. The final question for today is from Ray. Hello Tim, I have a rhododendron question. I planted approximately 15 plants, roughly 10-12 years old. I'm looking for a fertilizer to strengthen the plants and improve the root system. My first thought was plant trust, but is out of stock. Could I use garden trust instead? So when it comes to rhododendrons, believe it or not, plant trust is not the fertilizer that you want to use, although it certainly wouldn't hurt your rhodies as I had just explained. The best product to use is, in fact, Garden Trust. Remember, Garden Trust is going to improve blooms, produce brighter flowers, and that's really what a rhododendron is known for. So could you use Plant Trust? Yes, but the best product to use is actually going to be Garden Trust. Now, I mentioned this in the previous question as well. You got to use Kickstart. If you're trying to strengthen the root system of your rhododendrons, you got to make sure that you are using Kickstart. So the combination of Kickstart and Garden Trust is exactly what you want to do. All right, folks, just a couple final thoughts before we wrap up this week's video podcast. Folks, I'm getting a couple of emails a day from all of you asking about when Plant Trust is going to be back in stock. Now, I do not have an exact date, but I know that it should be in the next couple of weeks. ProTrust is working really hard at getting it manufactured, and once they're able to produce it, within a few days of that, we're going to have it back on our shelves and ready for you to order. So I really do appreciate your patience. I also want to remind you guys that Memorial Day here is in a couple of days. I know it's really early this year. It's throwing me off too, but a lot of people like to put in gardens on Memorial Day, whether that's flowers, veggie gardens. Some of you are already ahead of that because of the good weather that you've been experiencing. But I just want to remind everyone that if you are planting something on Memorial Day, head over to Rosens Online and make sure you have Garden Trust and Kickstart. Both of these products are really important when you're putting in a garden, whether it's flowers, whether it's veggies. I just talked about how, Garden Trust is really designed to produce blooms. It's also really helpful because of all that phosphorus and potassium to produce really healthy fruit, veggies, things like that. So again, head over to rosensonline.com, pick up some Garden Trust, and definitely pick up Kickstart because your plants are really going to be craving that nutrition and they need to have a strong root system, especially during that initial transplanting phase or when you're just getting seed down. Folks, as always, if you have questions, continue to send your emails directly to me, tim@rosensonline.com. I do my best to answer them within a couple of days, and we're pretty much caught up right now in terms of the questions that have come in. But again, send your emails to tim@rosensonline.com, and I promise that if I receive it, I will respond. Folks, as always, I really appreciate the time that you've spent with us on this video. I hope that you guys are having a good week and that as we look ahead to Memorial Day, you guys have a very blessed holiday weekend. God bless.